hope someone that designs ergonomic chairs understands biology.
Sending in a chair specialist to go and deal with someone who is a human is like sending an electrician to go and fix your toilet. They're not experts in the toilet.
I love that analogy.
Welcome to another episode of JEB CAST. My name's Rob Wall. I'm the CEO of JEB Group, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce my great mate and fitness expert, amongst other things, Andrew Cox. I guess to start with, to introduce you, I'd like to know a little bit about you and your journey and what brought you into fitness, and then we're going to lead into this podcast, which is all about wellness, corporate wellness, whether it is a myth or whether it's a reality.
Happily. Good day, everyone. So I'm one of the owners and directors of a company called Joint Dynamics here in Hong Kong. Joint Dynamics is a wellness business where we have elements to tackle reactive health. So that means physiotherapy, massage therapy, osteopathy, psychology, a women's health centre. And then we have proactive health, which is the gym. So strength and conditioning, personal training, and movement coaching. And basically the business, I will tell you about me in a second, but basically the business, but this is me. There's four owners of Joint Dynamics, excuse me, but I'm one of them, and it's our baby. You know, just as this is potentially your baby, you view your business as an extension of yourself. It's who I am. Yep. Really, it's who I am.
Totally agree.
So, you know, Joint Dynamics puts people in the middle and basically gives them a Joint Dynamics hug. If you need to see a physiotherapist and you see a physiotherapist, it makes sense after you've seen a physio to strengthen your gains and not get hurt again that you go see a personal trainer.
Yep.
So how did I find myself in this industry? God, that's a great question. I guess, you know, we like all of us, we have influence from our parents. And my father was an athlete and a coach. So I grew up, seriously, Wally, when my dad went to the US for 3 weeks for this coaching clinic. He loved rugby league. And he got an Order of Australia medal from the Queen. It's the King now, but when he received the Order of Australia medal, my family went to the governor's house. It was so good. The Coxes come in. G'day, guys. And my dad received an Order of Australia medal. It was one of the most proudest moments that I had in my life. It was amazing.
So fitness is in your blood. Your old man was a coach.
Coaching and fitness is in my blood. So what I was going to say, my dad went to the US for 3 weeks. He came back, I think I was 8. And he gave me this book, Self-Cybernetics by Maxwell Smoltz. And it was all about coaching and there was all these acronyms. And I'm like, all right, Dad, you mind if I just go back to the cartoons for a little while? And then he handed me that and some other books. So he was a coach, among other things. And it's sort of via osmosis, mate. I just picked up on it. I've been either... First time I was a coach was when I was 12 because our coach of the water polo team couldn't do it anymore. I was the captain of the team, so all of a sudden I became a coach at 12. It was brilliant. I had a great time. So just via...
So what were you doing when you were coaching 12-year-olds as a 12-year-old?
Working it out as I go along. All the best coaches, not that I'm one of them, but I'm okay at it. All the best coaches will say you'll fail your way forward. It's just that my lab started when I was 12. No joke. So some days I'd be running. They're my mates as well. But some days I'd do a great job and some days I wouldn't. But I always remembered those days I didn't do a great job. Even as a kid, riding my 10-speed home. Remember the old 10-speed bikes?
Yep.
Riding home,
Melbourne
going,
Star.
Yeah. Riding home, going, okay, that one didn't work. And it just, as an athlete does that, I was doing that as an athlete and then as a coach. So I would say my journey into where I am now, honestly, mate, started, you know, when I was born, my father was so into rugby league. In the community that I was in, they said I was baptised with the old sponge out of the bucket.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because my dad was so involved and my whole family was so involved in sport from the time I was born.
And were you watching him coach
Yes.
a lot?
Mate, one of the joys of my life from as long as I can remember was getting in my dad's truck and going to footy training with him, rugby league training with him on a Tuesday and Thursday night. And what felt like me having this inside pass to these League of Legends, these grown men running around. And because I was Jimmy Cox's son, I could just get in there, you know? And so I learned to put people on a pedestal very young. I don't know why, but I always did. And then actually one of the things that happened when I played sport a lot was I would still put people on a pedestal. One day I played this guy. He played for the Springboks and he came to rugby league and I played a game against him. This was in Newcastle. And I remember going, oh, mate, I'm playing a Springbok. And I put him on a pedestal when actually I shouldn't have been doing that. But just from those young experiences, I just thought it was amazing that I got to be around it, and probably taught me to swear a little bit early.
Yeah.
But it was great.
And do you remember seeing your dad coach and seeing the people he was coaching? Do you remember seeing the penny drop when the message he was giving them, whether it was to pass better or to run faster or to do what he was trying to do, which was to get them better at playing the game of rugby league? Was it moments that captured your imagination where you thought, I want to be able to explain things to people and for them to learn it and then be able to go and execute it?
Yeah. And you know what I learned from that, Wally? Because he loved the game. He loved the game. And a sale or trying to get someone to follow you, I believe, and what I learned from that, it was just a transfer of enthusiasm. When my dad was coaching, mate, he was lit up like a firecracker. And so people were naturally drawn to that energy and would naturally follow that energy. Yeah. So from a young age, I learned that being passionate about something is great, and that transfer of enthusiasm, of passion, as long as you know your stuff. Like don't I'm not going to tell you how to invest in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I might be passionate about it, but don't listen to me. You know what I mean? But as far as biomechanics and movement and energy movement and maybe getting the best out of your body and being able to wake up with an element of vitality and bring that to your work so that you can function better, which is sort of the crux of what we're going to talk about. I learned that to be an effective coach and leader, part of that is knowing the subject, and then the magic is just that transfer of enthusiasm. When you those times I've been behind you on the ski and you coach me on the ski, you love that.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
mate, I totally agree. And I've trained with quite a few people, and you are without doubt the most enthusiastic person when it comes to physical movement that I've ever been around. And I get the pleasure to go out and do silly things with you on Thursday mornings and Saturday mornings and swim under a bridge and do all these other things which are part of the whole wellness journey, right? So, which we're going to go into. So I'm going to get on topic here for a little bit, but just coming back to joint dynamics. So I've got a little bit of a prop here. So joint dynamics, clinical credibility, experts in physiotherapy, osteopathy, chiropractic, women's health, and more. And we'll come back to women's health because I think that's important. Advanced training in applied functional science, corporate wellness, trusted by elite athletes, Fortune 500 executives and leading corporates. Sorry, mate, I'm giving your business a big plug here, but Joint Dynamics is an incredible company. Corporate experience, Joint Dynamics is a service provider to companies like Goldman Sachs, UBS, Macquarie, and AllianceBernstein. Familiar with the privacy, responsiveness, and professionalism required in high-performance workplaces, providing tailored human-centered assessments, one-hour assessments, virtual or in-person, conducted by specialist clinicians. So we're going to, just because I want to keep on topic here for a little bit, AI says that corporate wellness is the set of initiatives and programs that companies use to support and improve the physical, mental, and emotional well-being of their employees. These efforts aim to create a healthier and happier work environment, which can lead to increased productivity, better employee morale, and higher retention rates. What do you think about that? So let's start with the physical, because that's your expertise.
Well, but what AI missed was reduced rates of absenteeism, because that's expensive for any organisation.
Yep.
And reduced rates of presenteeism, meaning, Wally, I'm here and I work for JEB, I'm here, but I have neck pain, shoulder pain, back pain, choose your quote unquote poison, but choose your discomfort. I'm here, but mate, my mind is somewhere else. Or if mentally and emotionally I'm not at a level that's acceptable for me to be at my best, then if I've got something going on that's mentally and emotionally taxing, just if I have something that's physically taxing, instead of me being a 9 out of 10, just taking the emotion out of it for a second, sometimes we view, just say if I'm an employee, I am a unit of production. And unfortunately, with business, because that sounds a bit cold, hang on, you're removing the humanness from it. I'm by no means, but just to create a context, I am a unit of production when I come to work. And as a unit of production, you'd hope that I can perform, to an 8 or a 10 out of 10. That would be the standard I'd hold to myself. Yep. When I turn up and I have some physical ailment, my neck's sore or my shoulder's sore, I'm here, but it's a constant voice to me that says, mate, here I am, and this is distraction. I'll be working, and then you'll see me, I'll go, oh, man. And I'm just distracted, or my back, or, it doesn't have to just be physical pain, mental and emotional as well, which is why psychology and counselling is so important, and there's been a rise in corporate wellness of late. If I've got something that is mentally and emotionally taxing on me, it's the same thing. So that's presenteeism. I'm here, but actually I'm not here, Wally. Yeah. But when I'm in the best health, and there's... Gary Becker won a Nobel Prize for Economics in 1992, and his work sort of centred around human capital. And if I condense it and simplify as succinctly as possible as I can, in 1992 we won a Nobel Prize saying that the health of the workforce will dictate the productivity of the workforce. Simplified. Yeah. And then since then there's been so much work done on energy management by Tony Schwartz and Jim Law. They wrote lots of books on energy management. And basically, just as we said, energy, it's a transfer of enthusiasm as well. And everybody knows that, energy is contagious. So if I come to work, and now all of a sudden you're going, holy cow, there's so many layers to this. Because what was a simple statement, you go, whoa, hang on, now we've just stepped down another 3 levels. But our role as people that are passionate about this industry and who work in it every day is to be able to have this foundation of knowledge and practical experience so we can just give the tip. But we have to know the smarts under the table to condense the work of Gary Becker, 1992 Nobel Prize winner. I just condensed it to, 12 words? It's about 12,000 words, Wally. But my role is to be able to condense that and say, hey, dude won a Nobel Prize. What for? Human capital. What does that mean? Basically, if you're healthier, you're a better unit of production. What affects health? Physical, mental, emotional, even spiritual comes into it. So really, when we task ourselves to share something of value for you, come on, welcome, join us, you're in good space. When we task ourselves to deliver something of value, you need to share the smarts under the table. But that's like the iceberg effect. The strategy's up here, but it has to be founded in solid science and someone who's won a Nobel Prize, you know what I mean? Because we need to refer to give validation for the decisions that we make. We had a conversation earlier on. I'll shut up in a minute, I promise. But we had a conversation earlier on before we started. You were talking about ergonomic chairs. Yeah. And you just went, well, I hope someone that designs ergonomic chairs understands biology. And I went, yeah, that makes sense. So I don't know the answer, but the fact that you're curious because you do it every day makes so much sense, because what's the role of an ergonomic chair? Yeah. To make someone to show up to work and have a great time, you know what I mean? And be an effective unit of production. Not dispelling the humanness. Like, that sounds cold. Bloody human of production. Screw you, mate. I'm a worker, I'm a person. I know you are. But as an organisation, the role of any organisation, the DNA of any organisation, is to get the most out of you. Absolutely, yeah. And acknowledging that to get the most out of you, you need to be happy and healthy. You got to
be the best you, right?
Yeah.
So I think everyone can acknowledge that if someone has a fight with their spouse or they're not in a good emotional state, they can come to work and they can be distracted.
Mm-hmm. True. That's compartmentalisation.
Which is compartmentalisation, right? But it's the same thing with the physical health, because I don't think people think that, or they might not necessarily equate emotional and physical health as being the same thing, where you can be distracted because you've got neck pain, or you can be distracted because you've got wrist pain. And, some of this pain might be because of lifestyle factors, or it might be because of the equipment that you're sitting on. Like, maybe you're sitting on the wrong chair, or you don't have your screen close enough to you while you're at work. I mean, there's a lot of factors, and I don't think that enough of it is actually driving around that. And just coming back to, what you mentioned about ergonomic chair design, which is what my business is. All the famous chair designers, if you think about it, you think about the Eames, Chiterio, the Pouvres, all these guys. I mean, these guys are more artistic in terms of their application of creating the form rather than being an expert in physiology. And I think we were talking about it before, like there are no famous, experts in physiology like a Charles Eames or a Charles and Ray Eames that people would know that designed that chair that gave you the best health at work or gave you the best, piece of equipment for you to sit on that would stop neck pain or stop back pain or enable you to move. I mean, there are no famous designers or famous people who are behind these great chairs like, Aeron chair is probably the most famous one. But no one talks about the guy who designed it that was a great physiologist or a great human movement expert. So
I wonder if they consult with physios. I wonder. Like, it makes sense. Or someone that studied kinesiology. I wonder. It makes sense that they would.
Yeah.
I think, how about moving to frame it a little bit before, we just spoke about ergonomics. What is ergonomics? If we sort of go, well, what is ergonomics? Ergonomics is the study of work and the workplace. And so you can't have, or ergonomics is the study of work, so you can't have work without the workplace. Here we are at JEB, bloody great workplace, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then we can't have work without the work equipment. And so we've got the chairs and the computer and all this stuff. And then you can't have work without the worker. And to date, my opinion, Wally, to date, ergonomic solutions have been overly focused on engineering solutions, meaning we've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars fitting the workplace to the worker. But what we forgot is we need to make the worker fit for the workplace as well. Yep. So yes, you need ergonomic chairs, and yes, you need to understand the biology of compression in the spine, and that if you don't move, you're not doing well. But also, you need to be able to condition the worker to take the stress of work as well. And from my perspective, which is why we've come together. To be honest, we've did a pitch to corporates because it makes sense to give a holistic program. And man, what a great marketing word, holistic. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm proud to put holistic beside the service offering that we've put together because I believe we've got everything. We've got the workplace. That's what you do every day. We've got the work equipment. That's what you do every day. We've got the worker. Guess what? That's what my company does every day. Imagine putting this powerhouse team together and then going to a corporate and saying, we've already thought about it. And the great thing is, everything that comes up when your workers come to you with a complaint, guess what? We've been through it because we do it every day. So we're probably 2 steps ahead of your worker because we've had all this anecdotal and empirical evidence to support what we're doing.
Yeah.
I'm stoked that it's a good idea.
And I think, just one of the reasons why, we came together to do that was because, we both saw a gap, and we provide equipment, but the equipment can only be used properly if someone is physically in the right condition. And you're only physically in the right condition if you have the knowledge, to live a life or to be able to move correctly. And that usually comes, you can self-learn it, but often you need expertise to teach you how to do something. Like you go to school, teacher teaches you how to do maths, you go to a movement expert to be able to learn movement properly. And I think, one of the things that why we were talking about this was that, if I send out one of my staff who sells a chair or sells a desk to go and teach someone how to use it, they're going to be able to teach that person how to use that chair just anecdotally, functionally, but they're not going to actually be able to look at, they know how to use the equipment, but they don't know about the worker. And I think that's where we were trying to come together, and I think we've done a great job, is how does the worker become a better fit for the equipment, and then the equipment be better fitted to the worker.
It's bi-directional, hey?
Yeah.
It's bi-directional. It's perfect.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to add, because that's why you saw me lean forward, we mentioned compartmentalisation. So, I can emotionally compartmentalise very well, but remember that time when Henry, like I was so glad to meet Henry, and I sort of said to him, I compartmentalise very well. He said, that's fine, as long as you deal with it afterwards. So if you're going to sweep something under the carpet, lift the carpet up and deal with it, otherwise it's going to come back and bite you. One differentiation with physical pain, it's very different to it's very difficult to compartmentalise. Like if I'm at work and I come with neck and shoulder pain and my work puts stress, it's really hard. Maybe someone such as yourself can compartmentalise because your pain threshold is really high. But you, to be honest, you're an anomaly.
I'm in a little bit of pain at the moment. I'm compartmentalising it quite well.
Yeah, but to be honest, you're an anomaly. And I can say that with confidence because I work with people all the time. Your capacity to deal with pain is not normal. And so when most people come to work with discomfort, back to this idea of presenteeism or even absenteeism, being absent, you know what I mean? I'm sure you've got pain. There's some people out there, Wally, that wouldn't show up to work today because of the pain that you have in your right shoulder. That's fact. I can tell you now. Whereas you come to work and you can compartmentalise or you can still perform at a high level.
It's a workaround.
Yeah, that's mindset. It comes back to mindset as well, which is super powerful. But there are people out there that won't come to work when they've got a sore right shoulder. And organisations need to understand that. Yeah. So it's easier, speaking on Andrew, I can compartmentalise emotional and mental discomfort as long as I deal with it. Because I've seen someone about it, everyone, and I learned. And that was a big learning moment. But for the vast majority of your employees, it's very difficult to compartmentalise physical pain. Yeah. So you need to share strategies and provide equipment that can help them, A, not get in pain. That's first. That's the, let's be proactive. Come in first as opposed to, because remember, I've got down here, medical costs in Hong Kong are due to go up by 9.8% this year in your organisation, in yours and mine.
Yeah.
If we don't do anything about it, medical costs, according to the Willis Towson Watson study, are going to go up 9.8%.
And is that medical costs as in when you go to the doctor, instead of it being $1,000, it's going to be $1,098?
Yeah, it's going to go up 9.8%.
Right.
Exactly.
As opposed to more people are going to go and see the doctor, so there
that
are
as well.
10% more people go and see the doctor.
That's all encompassing.
Right.
If nothing changes, Wally, I'm going to be 9.8% down this way. And if nothing changes, there's going to be a growth in the amount of people that go that way. Yeah. So it's 9.8% across the board.
Yeah. So just coming back to, some of the things that we were trying to communicate with this partnership that we, JEB and Joint Dynamics have is someone in the workplace is sitting on a chair and they've got pain, sending in, let's say, a chair specialist to go and deal with someone who is a human who's got pain is like sending an electrician to go and fix your toilet, because they're not experts in the toilet.
I love that analogy.
I think, by sending someone in, because it takes about, I could train you on how to use a chair in about 15 minutes, I reckon. But to learn, like human movement, to be a physiotherapist or to be, an osteopathist, you'd have to do like years of training. So, and that includes just all of the data that you collect from seeing people on a day-to-day basis. So if someone's sitting on a chair and they say, this chair is making my back hurt, my chair expert is going to say, well, the reason your back hurts is because I've got to adjust the tension on the chair. Whereas if someone from, let's say, Joint Dynamics goes in and asks, why does your back hurt? They're not going to look at the chair first. They're going to look at the person first. So talk me through how that could work. How would that assessment work? And what's the difference between sending in the electrician to go and fix the plumbing problem and sending the plumber in to go and fix the plumbing?
Yeah, great question. What I can tell you, I can't tell you the name of the organisation, there's a casino in Australia, just say one of the former staff members of Joint Dynamics, he worked proactively in the recruitment side as a physiotherapist, in the recruitment side of a casino. And when people came in and they were doing their sort of interview for the job and they had to show them how they would work, the physio, the person going for the job interview, didn't know that this person was a physio, an expert in biomechanics. The physio would watch them and say, the way they're moving, they're going to get shoulder pain. the way they're moving, if they keep moving like that, loaded forward on their forefoot, they're going to get lower back pain because they're compensating. They're leaning forward. The pelvis is diving forward. They're compressing the lower back and they're getting a stretch on the front. So the abdominals are switched off and they're just hanging there like that. If they keep that up for, let's say, 1 year, 2 years, there's a massive chance that this person's going to have lower back pain. Yeah. So it's already happening. It's already happening. So the role of the physio or someone that understands the biology or the biomechanics of a human is to basically do that. Because, you know, reactive health is really important, but that's your 9.8% that's going to happen. Wouldn't it be great if you redirected, let's just say we spend 100, or you said 1,000, and then add 10% to that, just I've rounded up everyone, 9.8%, I've just rounded up for simple mathematics. 10%, it's not accurate, but it's out by 0.2%, so forgive me. But 10% is gone up 100. Yeah. So do you think it would make sense, Wally, because I do, to say, you know what, instead of paying that 10%, that 100 reactively, how about get in front of it and spend 30, 40 or 50 to try to reduce those reactive healthcare costs, get someone that understands the human body, because we're going to spend some money on the chairs, which is great, that's one side of the equation. Now get someone that understands the human body, like this is the program we've created basically, that come in and says, hey, Wally, unit of production for an organisation, a large organisation, I'm just going to take you through some simple movements. And I'm also going to see how you use the chair. And I'm just going to give you some guidance. And I'm also going to give you some strategies. Therefore, I will alleviate the likelihood. There's no sure things, but we're increasing the likelihood that pain won't come your way. Yeah. And what does that mean? When pain doesn't come your way, you're going to turn up more often. And when you do turn up, you're not going to be influenced by presenteeism. And then you're going to have better energy because you feel better. Go back to the Nobel Prize, a healthier worker is a more productive prize. Everybody wins. Yeah. Everybody wins.
Even the organisation, just the whole liability side of it. Like if someone comes to work and says, you as the employer have provided me with this chair and that's the reason I've got back pain, an expert asking the right questions is going to be able to find out that maybe the back pain has got nothing to do with the equipment that's being provided in the office, and you know that person has a weak core or has some other myriad of reasons that could have created the back pain. So it's the diagnostics becomes more accurate. You start being, you know, this holistic word, which is a great word.
We can use it.
Yeah.
It's a great marketing word, but we can use it in this context.
Yeah.
We can use it, yeah.
Yeah. And I think, you know, when you think about some of these organisations and, you know, we got a couple of stats that were thrown at us, you know, by some of these organisations who have thousands of people, and let's say thousands of people have let's call it 10,000 people. If there are 3% of those people, which is 30, right, that have a problem, and then they're being misdiagnosed, and let's say of those 30, and it's a financial organisation that is, you know, earning billions of dollars, and let's say a third of those people are high earners within the organisation, you're talking about millions and millions of dollars that could be lost because of misdiagnosis, or these people just being ignored, and that means they take a day off, right? So I think what we've been looking at in terms of this partnership is, again, the right person, you know, the right tradesperson going in to deal with the problem for the organisation, and then also to bring, you know, more knowledge about wellness. So let's just talk about the wellness journey. Where do you think a wellness journey starts for a person? We're saying, like, you know, like, is it when you put your shoes on in the morning? You know, what is the wellness journey for you in terms of, you know, being holistic? Let's take away the equipment and everything. Does it, you know, is it diet, sleep, and exercise? Is it diet, sleep, exercise, relationships? How do you start your day? What are some tactics that you employ that you think are simple takeaways that people who are listening to this podcast will be able to take away?
Yeah, you know what? That's such a great question. And then we need to underline all of that to say, and it has to be practical. You know what I mean? Like the way that maybe you live your life, or maybe that I live my life, is attainable for people that have the same passion for health and performance as you and I do. That's why we're such good mates, because you like stuff that I like. How cool is that?
Yeah,
Mate,
100%.
God said, hey, here's Wally to me. He said, hey, here's
God
a
said,
mate.
hey, here's Coxie to me.
Seriously, he'll play with you
Yeah.
out at Round Island and do all this crazy stuff with you. No way, that's awesome. But we need to acknowledge that, let's just say those 10,000 employees of that large organisation, their dance card is pretty full if we take a snapshot of humanity at the moment that works for a large corporation. Thank you, Andrew. So first we have to underpin everything with the practical element. So when we're walking up the stairs from the 4th floor to the 9th floor, you made a comment, you said, "What? Look at you with your fancy shoes on." It makes no sense, but actually I need to be able to take advantage of a corporate health and performance program with my shoes on. So really the challenge for you and I is to say, how do we create a corporate health program that is practical? Because, it's these micro snacks or these movement snacks, these small moments during the day, seemingly innocuous, you know what I mean? Like I need to work hard for 90 minutes and then just step away for 3 minutes, be guided on what to do, or have something in the office that draws me that says, you passed comment on put an exercise bike in. That exercise bike draws me and I'm just going to get on it while we're having a meeting for 3 to 5 minutes. So you've created the environment, the work environment, to make it easy for me. But if you created a work environment and you as a top-down organisation say, "Wally, you've got to use the bike, and before you use the bike, you've got to take your shoes off and you've got to change into your exercise equipment."
No one's going to do it.
What?
Yeah.
So it needs to be practical in the sense of I can wear what I've got on now, and it's easy for me to get on an exercise bike, for example. Or one of the pieces of equipment that we use a bit is, that whole body vibration. The brand is the Power Plate. I love that for so many reasons, but one of the reasons is this surface. We manipulate the environment that when you stand on this environment, it moves up and down, a little bit forwards and back, a little bit side to side, but it moves up and down in alignment with gravity really, really fast. The hertz is between 30 to 40 hertz in the way that we use it. What that does, it elicits a reflexive muscle contraction, much the same as when we took our kids to the doctors as kids, and the doctor took out that little hammer and tapped the patella tendon and went like that, and then
me getting an injection and feeling like I want to pass out.
Yeah. But the doctor turned to us when we did that with our kid after tapping the patella tendon and said, "Oh, your kid's reflexes are all right, Wally, they're going to be okay," as a reflection of their health of their nervous system. Yeah. So that Power Plate does that. So what does reflexive muscle activation mean? It means the fast twitch muscle fibres. What's the importance of fast twitch muscle fibres? They're the ones that fall away as we age if you don't activate them regularly. How do you activate them regularly? Lift really heavy, run really fast, or do reflexive muscle activation.
Any way to do that in the workplace?
That's what I'm alluding towards, mate. So we put an exercise bike in, but a bigger capital expenditure is putting in a Power Plate. But the powerful thing about a Power Plate is you get that fast twitch muscle activation, reflexive, but every time that muscle contracts and relax really fast, you enhance circulation. What does enhanced circulation do, Wally? What's that got to do with anything? A lot of things, but my brain says, hey, if you move more often, you're going to move more blood around this system. And also, if you understand breathing mechanics, and even if you don't because you're so into work, but every now and then you go, "Oh, my phone just reminded me to breathe." I sit up and I go, I take oxygen from out there and some other stuff and I bring it into my lungs. It attaches to the iron particle in my lungs and goes out, and my muscles and my organs, my brain, is acutely dependent upon blood flow and the oxygen and the nutrients and the hormones that it brings. So when I move, I increase the oxygenation to my brain as one point for a very, very effective performance tip. Get more oxygen to your brain. You go, well, no joke. Yeah, but how often do you move? And it's so simple. Smarts are under the table. We could go into more of the biology of it. But why do we need? Because the strategy is, hey, Wally, just move. Yeah. How can we optimise that? Well, let's put, as you suggested, put an exercise bike in a meeting and just get on it for 5 minutes. Yeah. Don't even have to change your clothes. Or understand some biology and get fast twitch muscle activation, lots of muscle activation to enhance your circulation even more. Get a Power Plate. And there's many other strategies that we can dive into, but we have to underpin it, you and I, to say it needs to be practical.
And I think it's not just being practical, but it's so again, Jem was at Joint Dynamics because she's got some ankle issues, and she went and saw one of the physiotherapists there, and she's not one of those people that if you give her a set of rehabilitation exercises and say you've got to go and stand there in a corner and do them for 20 minutes, right? We've got to build it into her day. So one of the things that I suggested to her was, one of those spongy things that's hard to balance on if you stand on one foot. Yeah. Put it in her bathroom, so while she's brushing her teeth, she can be standing on one foot and doing her rehab while she's doing something that she has to do every day. So how we build these, I guess, wellness activation devices into the workplace, I think is really important. In fact, we've actually got a desk by a height adjustable desk company called 9am, and they've got a wellness. They call it, we want to be your wellness partner, and it's got you can put a light on the desk, or it actually on the height adjustable mechanism. It can just automatically go up and down. So during the day, all of a sudden you're working at your desk, and then you're moving up and down.
That's brilliant.
So it's a reminder to do that. So I think, just coming back to that, what do you think are some other strategies that, rather than saying, right, okay, you've got to get up from your desk every hour, go and do 5 minutes of these 5 stretches and that kind of stuff, which most people won't do. I mean, we would do it, but I mean, and other fitness enthusiasts or people who are sort of really aware of their physiology would do it. But what do you think are some other things that people can build into just their workday, just to, where it just becomes something that they don't have to go and dedicate too much time to?
Yeah, great question. Let's frame it, because you missed one other person, because compliance is the magic sauce. Consistency, like you said with your daughter. If you do these exercises, and I'm sure Jack, the physio, said it to her, I'm sure Jack said, look, if you do these exercises 3 to 5 times a week, instead of seeing me, the physio, 8 times, you'll probably only have to see me 6 times. And honestly, just like I believe doctors, remember you were told you were going to have a hip replacement. You remember that? You were told, yep. And you even had a time frame. And now you're sprinting. But why is that? Because you look after your body, I might be exaggerating a little bit, but not by much, with maniacal devotion. You really do. So you're not the norm. Again, you're not the norm. And healthcare practitioners treat their patients as if they're the norm, because compliance, consistency is number one. Unfortunately, most people aren't compliant or consistent unless they have pain. When you have pain, Morley, it's very motivational, because you want to get out of pain. But
so I guess when you were saying the thing that I was missing out on in that previous monologue was motivation. So how do we get employees motivated? And I guess like you introduced me to Techno Gym, and I went and saw them yesterday, and they've got a device where you go and do a range of tests, and this device is like a pretty small piece of equipment, but you do a grip test, you do a cognitive test, you do a flexibility test. I mean, it's all pretty simple. You can do the whole thing in about 20 minutes. You can set one of these things up, and then it tells you what is your biological age. And I think most people don't want to be older than they actually are. I mean, this is the human condition. We're all trying to cheat death in some way. Yeah. So, other than saying, right, okay, you're a 35-year-old and you've got the body or the physiology or whatever of a 65-year-old, which means that you potentially, if 80 is the average age of dying, you're only 15 years away from dying rather than 45 years away from dying. What do you think are some other motivators? I mean, pain's obviously a motivator, but let's say...
How do you instigate change in an organisation?
How do you instigate change? If I'm let's say the average person is, I don't really work out much, I don't really eat that healthily, I don't really have a lot of pain. Let's say I'm 30 years old, so I haven't had enough time on the planet, and bad habits are really starting to impact me and creating a lot of pain. What do you think are some motivational things to stop the presenteeism or the absenteeism that's going to happen when I'm 35 or when I'm 40? What do you think organisations can do to start instilling these better habits or, other, I guess, mechanisms?
I got what you mean. I've got two stories. First story, remember when everything went online, when we were in lockdown? We did a corporate health program for a large organisation. And we'd done corporate health programs before. Some of them worked really well, and then some of them didn't meet our expectations that we hold ourselves to. This one, for example, worked really well. And the reason why it worked really well, on day one, the guy that ran that organisation introduced the program and was vulnerable and said, hey, I struggle with some stuff. And guess what? I'm going to do this with you. So it has to be top down. And then, do you ever hear of Dr. Mike Roizen? He was the Chief Wellness Officer for the Cleveland Clinic, who have a workforce of over 100,000. Anyway, when he came in, and he was tasked with many things, was to make their workforce healthier. And one of the things that he did, one of his successes was they took this, because smoking, no way you can get around it, is really bad for your health. It's not good for your brain, it's not good for your physical health, it will rob you of life in years, and it's measurable. And so what they did was they were saying, hey, we're a healthcare organisation, nobody's allowed to smoke at work. The Cleveland Clinic had some really high-profile surgeons who were smokers, and they said, no, we've been doing this for the past years, we're going to smoke in our office. And guess what the Cleveland Clinic did? They fired those guys. They let them know. They said, okay, but we've changed. If you don't change, then you're no longer a part of this organisation. And the guy whose name was Toby said, excuse me, mate, you're smoking, that's the third, you're out. And they fired, so they sent a message, top-down message to say, hey, the culture of this organisation now is one of wellness. And what is culture? Culture is a non-genetic transmission of human behavioural styles, Wally. Around here, people like us do this. And we don't do that. That's culture. You can't, it's measurable. So they said that by firing those people, everybody below them, like they were really high-profile surgeons, everyone below them went, well, they're not joking.
You're sending a message.
They're not joking. So, and that time when we ran that corporate program, when everything was in lockdown, and the guy that ran it came on and introduced it, was vulnerable. Because most people, in higher leadership and higher management, I talk to them every day at Joint Dynamics, in the lab that is Joint Dynamics, and you say to them, when we go to your organisation, and we run mental health programs and offer a psychologist, or we go to there and we offer a physiotherapist or a movement coach, you in higher management, why aren't you using it? And they say, well, we don't want to seem vulnerable in front of our peers, so I go to my own counsellor or therapist. I do see a counsellor and therapist because I want to be at my best and I need help sometimes, but I don't let them know.
I mean, that's interesting.
That's fact from the lab that is Joint Dynamics.
So on that topic, I mean, so we've tried a number of different strategies to, I guess, implement wellness here. Going back a while ago, we actually were running yoga classes, and we were offering some subsidy to staff to do yoga classes and to do some fitness classes internally. And we didn't get a high uptake of it. I mean, I don't know if it's just this culture here. I mean, they say that culture comes from top down, but I think most people know in this organisation that, that I, like fitness and movement and stuff like that. But we found it really hard to get that adoption where, I guess, when I introduced it, the adoption and the uptake wasn't as high. Yet we had another guy internally, and it might have been because it was yoga, maybe it was the wrong, I guess, gateway into fitness. But we've had another guy internally who started doing a running club, and we had more people join that. We've joined, there's a thing called the Lapdog Challenge, and it's running around a 400-meter track for 5 hours, and companies have to do as many collective laps as they can with their team, and you raise money for the Lighthouse Club, which is helping workers who get injured on construction sites and everything. It's a good cause. But just coming back to that motivational element of how do you get your organisation motivated other than firing the smokers?
So top down is one way. Identifying key people is another way. So identify your leaders. But also, you answered your own question, mate. You just said people are naturally competitive and people want to have fun and people actually don't want to go to work and be, excuse my language, be in a shitty workspace. Who wants to go? We spend so much time at work. Who wants to go to work and go, oh my God, I can't stand this place. So we want to create an environment, understanding human motivation. So you're competitive, I'm competitive. Everyone is this little competitive. And whether that be, you know what, team ergonomic chairs versus team desk people or whatever, you know, the different elements of your business, if we separate them and say, hey, the first team to accumulate 500,000 steps gets this. So there is a reward because I do want to feel that I'm acknowledged and rewarded for my efforts, but I don't want to make them not feel well for that. So it's just fun. So we need to incorporate that fun nature of
gamification.
Gamification, exactly. Yeah. But it needs to be measurable, and that's where data comes in. It's so easy to gather data in these places. And then just one thing, what you were saying, you offered people. What the Cleveland Clinic did under that Mike Roizen, mate, I forget what it was, but the statistics were amazing how much money they saved. They stopped people smoking from over 15% to less than 2%. And they had these, what they called 6 normals, these measurables, BMI, your blood pressure. But the money they were saving on corporate costs, they gave, I think it was about, don't quote me, but I think they gave about 30% back to the employee. So it sent this message of, hey guys, this is the culture here. We don't tolerate that anymore. And these guys who were the big dogs, they wouldn't comply. They're out. So they sent that message. And then they also sent another message, hey, you're going to be rewarded. So everyone started sort of self-policing, and then they introduced little challenges, which is what we would do as well. So that gamification, it's easy to gather data, and rewards can be, like just using Cleveland Clinic as an example. They decreased their healthcare costs. Whatever they saved, they gave 30% to their retirement fund. So I'm benefiting from that. And they ended up with however many people. It was millions of dollars that went towards the staff. So then they changed the culture of the organisation, and by implementing these things, top down, gamifying, competitive nature. So then you go, well, that's great. We understand the principles, or they're the strategies as well. How do we do that in a workplace? It's easy at your place. Look at this spacious nature. But let's go to a corporate where there's a lot of desks. You know what I mean? So then we just need to be very clever in the way we design a workspace. That's what you guys do as well. And then just make it easy. Like, seriously, it's not that difficult to put an exercise bike into a meeting room. It's almost like, you remember when they started talking about kids and exercise and one of the best things for your brain, and then that kids were performing better academically if they were doing exercise before school. And there was that famous example of that school. Yep. I think it was in Chicago. It was by a Harvard scientist. His name was John Ratey, and he wrote a book called Spark. And basically, he said that exercise is for your brain health. And guess what? You get the body thrown in for free. Yep. But exercise for your brain, because it's the best thing for your brain. Your brain gets smarter, it retains information better. Neurons grow in a certain part of the brain called the hippocampus, which is associated with movement and memory. That's amazing. So how do we do that? So they embedded into this school. So we just go, inspired by that, knowing the science, how do we engineer a workspace that invites me to move more often, even when I'm not in pain, okay, under removing pain, and also brings in that element of play. Because you know what, I've got my team, Wally, you've got your team, my tribe, but let's call it a tribe. Yeah. You've got your tribe, I've got my tribe. And as long as top down we control the narrative and make it fun, oh my God, it's a great way to increase compliance.
So what we could do is you could have a leaderboard, and let's say you have an exercise bike or a treadmill or something, and you create teams, and then you have to log the amount of kilometres or whatever you have in a week or a month, and then maybe you get a voucher to go to some cha-chan-tang and restaurant or
understanding that just as my team is performing really well, that's motivating. And understanding that your team is not performing well, that can be demotivating. Guess what? This week, we're going to throw in the joker. Yeah. And the bottom team, whatever you do, just for fun, we're going to give you an extra 50% so you can catch up. So they're like, oh my God. And then you're like, we can retain them. So it's just being smart and understanding the human behavioural science, and understanding we want to make it easy and practical. You can wear your shoes, Andrew. You wear your shoes, you know what I mean? Oh, look at you. Look at you. But so we monitor it, and you learn from every time you do this. You've done this a lot. My company's done this a lot. And there's little things that we know when to step in. And the great thing is, Wally, working with Technogym would be amazing because they're so good at gathering data. Yeah. You guys have a great back end. Guess what? Technogym have spent so much money developing their back end. So we utilise that back end, which speaks to not my watch, but your watch and your Whoop band or people's Aura ring or whatever it is that so many people gather data. We utilise that and we use it as motivation. And then we utilise that to say, oh, hey, Andrew's team's underperforming. What can we do to keep them motivated? Let's just bring in a joke around. Let's make it fun. As long as we control the narrative, that's someone that's watching it, joint dynamics, for example, that's what we do. And JEB, we control the narrative at certain times. You trust us, large organisation. We've done a shed load of them, so you can. Yeah. Then we can step in and we can manage that.
So,
where the rubber hits the road, we go, hold us accountable, just like we were speaking about being accountable to our clients, which we would be. Yeah. If at the end of the year there's no change, then don't do it with us again. Yeah. Go somewhere else.
Yeah,
I'm happy to put it on the line, mate.
I mean, same. I think, I was just thinking about it like, there's body weight versus equipment. And I think, we provide the equipment that enables people to hopefully work better. But there's all the other side of it, which is the human side of it that we're talking about. So, I guess coming back to, what we were talking about, if we wanted to build in this into like a daily, like Jem, brushing her teeth and standing on one leg, yeah. Have you thought about how would you design like the ultimate workplace, as in, let's call it a meeting room? Would you put a meeting room with a whole bunch of exercise bikes in there so that everyone had to participate in the meeting on an exercise bike? Or would you say have a table and it's a 6-person meeting room and have, let's say, 5 chairs and 1 exercise bike so that someone could participate if they wanted to, and you take away the pressure from it being a room where you have to go and exercise to it being more voluntary and it being, I guess, more intrinsic motivation rather than the organisation coming down on top of you, like us trying to say, right, here's sort of like free yoga classes or subsidised yoga classes, and it coming from within. Like, what do you think would be the equipment? Because you've set up gyms and you know where to lay out equipment in a gym. What are some things do you think that organisations could do in terms of introducing equipment or spaces in the workplace that would just facilitate that movement?
Yeah, great question. And what underpins my response is practicality and safety. If we put a balance board at the printer, and then one of our employees, she wears high heel shoes, Wally, and they come over and there's a suggestion, hey, while you're at the printer, stand on one leg on this wobbly board, and then they roll their ankle. Yeah. They go, well, thank you for the suggestion, joint dynamics, but we won't be using you next year because you just increased our healthcare costs. So what underpins the decisions is practicality, of course, and safety. So on that, a bike is great. There's so many suggestions, but then we go, well, how do we know they're going to work it? Permissibility, that has to come from top down. We understand, key people, leaders. So we need to discuss this with leadership. Before we launch this program, please just give us an hour of your time and give us some key people, or give me someone that will speak to the key people so we increase the likelihood of success. In this context, it's about permissibility. Culture. Around here, people like us do this. Wally, guess what? You're the top dog and you do it. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's how it goes. I'm under you. Oh, okay, cool. So we have to upfront load the corporate with these are the expectations in order for this to work, so you can decrease your healthcare costs. So there. And then we just have to look at inviting spaces. We need to know the layout of the space. The simplest thing is make sure that the printer, those that use the printer, give them a bit of space to go and get it. You know what I mean? Make it easy for people to drink water. And then if you want, because nutrition is a factor, and you can't supplement a bad diet, but you can bring in, there is some supplements that we spoke about. You said you have creatine for breakfast. Yeah, well, let's do it now. I'll show you how long it takes. You have creatine for breakfast. I believe there's enough research for an organisation screening everyone just to say, hey, We provide creatine. Here's the research. Here's the why. Why don't you take creatine? It's just a little boost on nutrition. It helps you with your energy. It's been shown to have gut health. It's been shown to have cognitive benefits. If you want it, here it is. We suggest you do. Wally runs the place. He's taken it. If you want to take it, we provide it for free. Go at it. Just a little thing like that. Or like we said, here's one of my multivitamins, and I'm using the.
So something like that. I mean, we're talking about like a fast, quick fix where someone who might not be getting all their nutritional or daily nutritional requirements, something like a powder like that, which is IM8, and David Beckham supports it, so must be good.
On your Becks.
And I think it was developed in Hong Kong.
Yeah,
this is a quick fix.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, this is a quick fix that will deal with your diet.
It will assist. Won't deal. You can't out supplement a poor diet, everyone.
Right.
But you can assist it. 100% you can assist it.
Yeah. And I guess the other part of it is, we can introduce exercise equipment into the workplace, in such a way that it's not, a lot of companies don't have the space to dedicate up to have a dedicated gym, but put equipment into spaces that are going to facilitate some movement. Gamification, right? So, top-down gamification or it coming from within the workplace. And then I guess the other part of it is, just coming back to that diagnostics, like
expert guidance. Can we call it?
Expert guidance. So, having, guys like us come in and say, look, we know about the equipment, and we have a whole suite of equipment that we can provide. You know about what is the holistic, health component of it, which includes, let's say, diet and exercise, which stops the presenteeism, stops the absenteeism.
Increases productivity.
Increases productivity, which then, increases corporate performance. So let's say, because we obviously want to, I think both you and I are the type of people that, we don't do what we do just for the money. Like, we're genuinely trying to go out there and help organisations and help people to be better, because that makes us feel good. Because, when you do things for people, you get oxytocin, you get serotonin, makes you feel good.
And guess what? It's good for money as well. It's a win-win.
Yeah.
You have expertise that's going to help people. You should be rewarded for that. So I'm happy to put my hand up and say, pay us for this, because it's a bloody good program. But that's not at the centre of what we're doing. We didn't go, hey, Wally, we need to make more money, so let's create this program. We said, how can we help people and make them more effective? So corporations go, that's a great program, and we've got a great response. We're getting value for money. Yeah. And you deserve to get well rewarded if you do a good job. Yeah. You don't deserve to get well rewarded if you don't do a good job. So I believe we're in alignment, but also, just like an organisation, they should go looking for a reward from spending their money. So you've got to acknowledge that. And then, as far as back to guidance, people need to move more. Easy. And there's a good, better, best scenario. Let's say the best scenario is, which was the program that we created. People come in and they get an ergonomic assessment set up, but they also get a physio, much like the guy at the casino said, hey, Andrew, this is the way you hold yourself with your shoulder or whatever. Here's some things that are bespoke for you. I'm going to give you 3 things from your physio. So let's call that the best scenario, 3 to 5 things. Cool. Let's go to the other end of the spectrum and we go, well, what's the good? And we just go, you know what? Understanding human movement. Here's the simplest thing that I know you can remember. You might remember 3 to 5 stretches that your physio gave you, but we'll couple that with a video, and if you need drawing. But you may not do that. But what I reckon you'll remember is, hey, Wally, when you're at work, just apply the law of opposites. And I'd even challenge you to go, just say right now, if Wally, because I'm the physio or I'm the biomechanist or I understand human movement, but if I say to you, hey, mate, at work, and you don't have to say mate, you don't have to be so Australian, do you? But just say, hey, Robert, how are you today? What I want you to do is, when you're at work, every 90 minutes, and I know you're time poor, every 90 minutes, this is how you spend your time. All I want you to do is physically apply the law of opposites to what you're doing. And then if you were now guiding me, if this is the law of opposites, what would you say I do, Wally? I'm sitting down and I'm rounded in. What would the law of opposites say to do?
Stand up.
Stand up is one.
Unkink the hose.
And unkink the hose, there's the law of opposites right there. And then guess what? one more layer to law of opposites. Maybe this is good and this is better. Understand that when you're in this position, that affects the way that you breathe. Just do something for me, Wally. Look up, and now looking up, try to swallow. It's really, really hard, isn't it? Everyone who's watching this, look up and try to swallow. You go, what the hell? The biomechanics of putting your neck in that position, it impinges the way that you can swallow. That's just an understanding of biology. Oh, how cool is that? It's a nice little game, isn't it? Guess what, Wally? Lean forward like you're really interested in what you're doing and working hard at your computer, and now try to breathe properly. Now my diaphragm, the primary breathing muscle, is doing the same thing as what my swallowing mechanisms do. It's like...
being compressed.
Yeah, I can't do it, it says. And what's the effect of not doing it? I don't get oxygen to attach to the iron particle in blood and go to my brain, which is what we discussed a while ago. You go, well, that's going to decrease my performance. Yeah. It's going to decrease my health. It's going to decrease my energy. Energy is contagious, so now it's not about me. It's about me having an effect on the people that surround me. And holy cow, if I'm in leadership, oh man, I should breathe and move frequently so I increase the likelihood of me turning up to have great energy. So the people that follow me, not via because I tell them to, but they see what I do and respond to the way that we guide them verbally as well. They see this is how I live. Man, Wally turns up with good energy every day. Wow, that's pretty cool. What does he do? And then, so these are just little things, but that would be the better. Not only do the law of opposites, be aware of your breath and the importance of your breath and your brain. It's connected to something that means a lot to me. Do you like your brain, Wally?
I hope so.
You got a beautiful brain, bro, to be honest. You got a beautiful brain. He does. He's got a beautiful brain. I've hung out with it a lot. You got a beautiful brain. Why wouldn't you? That sounds weird, doesn't it? Wally's my bromance. He's got a beautiful brain. But all you do, as do the people that follow you. Yeah. How do I look after my beautiful brain? You got a beautiful brain. Okay, how do you look after your beautiful brain? Move more often. Very simply, good, better, best scenario. Best is accept guidance from somebody that knows the body incredibly well. Got it. Good is, guess what? If I give you this simple cue, apply the law of opposites. Got it. And just do that frequently. Use your phone as a reminder. Use the desk with the red light that you mentioned as a reminder. Better is, I reckon you can remember two things, Wally. I reckon you remember two things. So you've got the law of opposites. Super simple. I'm going to do that. And oh my God, it's a self-rewarding prophecy. Oh, mate. I just want wow, that feels great. There you go, mate. Yeah, I feel good. No need to be so Australian again. Might fall into that easily. The better is, and just couple that with a breath. Coupling behaviours. When you exercise regularly, Wally, do you want to eat crap food? No, because you feel great. And one thing we know about human behaviour is it feels good to feel good. And I will naturally be drawn back to go to that state. You and me are in our 50s, and maybe if I acknowledge for a moment vulnerability, everyone. If we acknowledge for a moment, you and I probably can't perform at some things anyway. It's hard for me to acknowledge this. You and I can't perform to the same level we did when we were in our 20s. Potentially. Oh, God, it's hard to say that. But Wally, what we can do is we can do some really cool stuff and we can feel exactly like we did when we were 25 playing sport or doing stuff. When we do that Thursday and Saturday morning, mate, I feel just like I did when I was 20, when I was 18. We can feel like we did when we were young. Maybe. Maybe we can't perform to the same level. But the reason why we've been doing this for about 5 years together is because it feels great.
Feels good. Yeah.
So that's a macro example, but bring it back to the micro. When I stand up, and no joke, when I'm sitting down like that and I stand up, my joints, my spine in particular goes, oh, thanks for doing that. That feels pretty good. I might just intuitively do a bit of this and I might intuitively do that. Oh, better scenario is I should breathe while I'm doing this. I only need to take 3. I can sit back down to do it or I can just breathe as long as you teach me breathing mechanics, which is so simple. Did it when you're a baby, it's a little bit of re-education. And that coupling behaviour goes, wow, I feel even better. Will that affect my interactions with you as my colleague? If I feel better, am I a better bloke? The likelihood is yes. So then all of a sudden you see this ripple effect that we put in, not just from a top-down perspective, but from me just following a simple good, better, best scenario, even at the bottom, mate, I'm a better bloke. Yep. And if I'm a better bloke, I'm better at my job as a unit of production. And also as a better bloke, as a better unit of production, I'm a better bloke and you think I'm a better bloke, and then that energy, which is contagious. I didn't make that up. You didn't make that up. It's been a saying that's been around for a long time. Energy is contagious. So if my energy's at a higher level due to the good, better, best scenario, the gamification, the permissibility that I have from you as a leader, mate, wouldn't it make sense that the bloke sitting beside me goes, Wally's just in a great mood, and that's a little bit contagious. And I couldn't help but get caught up in it. And I just sort of saw the way that he behaved, and naturally I just went, I want what he's got because it feels good to feel good. So I'm going to do what he does. And it's alleviating my pain. I feel that I've got better energy. I actually enjoy my work more. And as a unit of production, which seems a little bit inhumane, but I've got to acknowledge it. And if you're a worker working for someone, you want to keep your job, be good at it, don't be shit at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's rule 101. Using a Nobel Prize winner to finalise this, you said you did a monologue, to finalise my monologue, using a Nobel Prize winner. You don't just get a Nobel Prize for doing something all right, do you, Wally? Let's go to good, better, best scenario. He did it the best. To be awarded in economics, to say, hey, and I'm condensing a large body of work into a very simple, a healthier worker is a more productive worker. We elucidated why, but let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Our healthy worker is a more productive worker, and there's a Nobel Prize going to the bloke that said that.
On that note,
Boom.
okay, so...
Let me have a drink, because this is great.
Right,
I'm having a great time.
So for all the audience that's out there, I mean, firstly, I want to say thank you to you. And talk to us. I mean, talk to Joint Dynamics, talk to JEB, talk about the program that we've put together. Go to Joint Dynamics. I mean, the guys are great. They offer a myriad of solutions that are going to make you feel better. Hope I'm walking, living proof of it.
But beyond that, Wally, go to Joint Dynamics for our network, which is you. Go to JEB, not just for the cool stuff that you do. You can kit out my whole office with the best equipment and petitioning. How amazing is that? But part of your value is your network, which is why, me and you, we now know Technogym, which is a world leader. The only fitness equipment at the 2024 Olympics was Technogym. So you and I are now aligned with the best in class. The best in class. So that's valuable for me to say, hey, guess what? Technogym's a good company. Guess what? JEB's an amazing company. Come to Joint Dynamics not just for what we do, but tap into our network. Go to JEB, not just because what you do. You guys do awesome stuff, but what an amazing network you have. That is so valuable.
And I think in our country, just to wrap it up, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you, mate? Why would you be mad if you did?
Mate, thanks so much.
My pleasure.
Cheers, Coxie.
That was fun, mate. Thank you.